So welcome everybody to another Macklin's Take YouTube episode with me, Andy Clarke, and Matt Macklin. And today we're convening to talk about Jose Ramirez against Josh Taylor. The fight's been in the pipeline for a while, but it got officially announced yesterday. And until things are signed and sealed in boxing, you never really know if they're going to happen or not. So May the 22nd, those two are going to meet for another super lightweight Grand Slam unification, the second one we've had in 4 years. And it doesn't get any better than this, really, does it? Because they're both undefeated. They've got 2 titles apiece. Their resumes are similar. There's not much to pick between the two of them. And they're both very good fighters to watch. Opinion seems to be leaning slightly towards Taylor. Generally speaking, if you're from the UK, you're picking Taylor. In the USA, there's more of a sway towards Ramirez. But on balance, on the whole, I think it's just leaning towards Taylor. What do you make of that, if indeed I'm right about that?
Yeah, and I think you're probably right. I think there's and maybe that's because of the people we follow and people we speaking to and the different channels that we engage with. They're leaning towards Taylor, but like you say, maybe we were in Los Angeles or in California somewhere in a gym chatting. Maybe they'd be leaning towards Ramirez because he's more known and there's seen more of him. But I think it's undisputable that it's a genuine 50-50 fight in terms of it's number 1 and 2, whatever way you want to toss that up, whatever your opinion is. These are the 2 best current super lightweights in the world. It's for all the belts. It's undisputed. And what's even better than that, they're both, this hasn't gone anywhere near past its sell-by date. These 2 are absolutely at the peak of their careers. I mean, I think Taylor can still go on and become even better. Maybe Ramirez can. Maybe there could be a rematch. Trilogies, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But this is definitely, when you look in boxing, these are the sort of matchups that we want to see. We want to see the divisions get cleaned out. We want, in an ideal world, there'll be one champion, one undisputed guy in every division. So, props to both men and both camps for getting this fight on.
I mean, you look at their kind of recent records, and Ramirez is a fairly long reigning champion now. He's had some close squeezes against Jose Zepeda. People thought he was a bit lucky in that fight against Victor Postol. I think he did win, but it wasn't enormously convincing. I think his work rate and his pressure got him the win. In between those two, an impressive stoppage of Maurice Hooker, and we covered that one. With Taylor, a win against Postol back in 2018, that was massive. Good win against Baranchik to get the world title, and then this epic fight against Regis Prograis, which was very, very close. Styles-wise, I think Taylor's got a bit more in his arsenal, but I don't think it's going to matter. Ramirez will bring it to him, and he won't be able to resist it. I mean, how do you see it?
Yeah, I think Taylor will win. I think he's neater. He's a bit tighter. His defenses are better. I think he's he can stand his ground and fight, but he's got a bit more boxing to him than I think what Ramirez has. Ramirez's work rate and his pressure, which was so effective against Hooker, but I don't think he'll have that same success with Josh Taylor. I mean, I think the hardest fight for Taylor in the division was the Regis Prograis fight, and he got, it was a close fight, but he got the win there. I just think he'll have a little bit too much for Ramirez, but I think it's going to be an unbelievable fight. I think Ramirez is going to absolutely bring the heat, but I think that will also play into Taylor's hands a little bit. And I think because he's, like I say, technically very well schooled, very good defense, good southpaw jab, works the body. I definitely lean to Taylor. I'm more than lean to Taylor. I put money on Taylor. I fancy him to win the fight. I think it's going to be a hard fight, but I kind of fancy Taylor in a big way, really.
It's going to be in the USA. They're both top-ranked fighters. It's going to be in America. We don't know where yet. We don't know. It's 2.5 months away, so we don't really know what the situation will be with crowds, wherever they choose to have it. We know that they're coming back in some places. They were for Canelo. He's a Californian Ramirez, so that's where he would want it, ideally. I mean, that definitely does make it. That's an advantage. If you're boxing at home, even if there aren't that many in the arena, that is an advantage. Traveling's hard.
Yeah, of course it's an advantage. When you're training at home, you got your home gym, you've got your home comforts, you're making weight. When you got to travel, you're in digs, you're in accommodation, are you happy there? What's the food like? It just knocks you out of sync a little bit. So look, people are experienced. Josh Taylor's travelled the world boxing, in the amateurs, so he's used to it to that degree. But it is a disadvantage. It is like, it does upset, it does knock you out your rhythm a little bit. But you'll adjust and you'll adapt, and he'll take it in his stride, no doubt. But certainly, if in an ideal world, you'd always pick to have it in your hometown. Why wouldn't you? But look, nonetheless, it's just. I hope it's Vegas, and I hope there's a crowd allowed. And if it is, and we're not working, that's one of those fights that I'd go to.
Big time, yeah. I mean, there's no UK broadcaster announced for that yet. Bob Arum said that they're going to try and make it more friendly for the UK audience. So early evening US time, around midnight, 1 a.m. our time, which would be great. Somebody's got to pick that up. I mean, this will reignite another debate, won't it? Last year, Lomachenko Lopez was on normally ESPN. They made a massive big deal out of that, not putting it on pay-per-view. And they were outraged, Top Rank. They were outraged when Sky and BT didn't go for it. Hopefully now we're kind of that much further through this COVID crisis that one of them will sink their hooks into it. No guarantees of anything at the minute, but I mean, this is, it's a Grand Slam unification with a British fighter in it. It'd be horrific, to be honest, if it wasn't accessible to a lot of people.
Oh, it'd be horrendous. And I actually thought that, we dropped the ball a little bit in not getting Lopez and Lomachenko, and I know it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and viewing figures wise, ratings, it didn't really rate, and the budgets, I get that, but I still thought you've got, at the time, Lomachenko, maybe the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, or certainly he's in the conversation, boxing this young kid in Lopez who really, really believes he's going to beat him, and he's a world champion himself. I thought it was a no-brainer to get that fight. I thought, it's not my decision, but I would like to think that someone could dig that little bit deeper and find the money to get that fight, because it was one of those marquee fights, maybe not to the casual, but certainly, if you're a boxing fan, a hardcore boxing fan, that was a must-see fight, Lopez and Lomachenko. But the fact that Josh Taylor is from Scotland, if a UK broadcaster does not pick that fight up, that'll be just absolutely criminal.
Well, it would, because he could be our first ever 4-belt undisputed world champion. It's an absolutely massive fight. And on that subject, there are plenty of those involving British fighters, because we've got Frampton against Herring. That's now April the 3rd in Dubai. Bob Arum saying today that whoever wins that will have to defend straight away against Shakur Stevenson. And if it's Frampton, he would look to do it in a stadium in Northern Ireland, so Windsor Park, presumably. Billy Joe against Canelo. Bob says, and Eddie's been saying, that Fury Joshua is pretty much done, and that will be announced. I mean, I know it's been tough the last few months for fans of all sports, but I mean, some of the stuff that's coming up is unbelievable.
Well, we've said it numerous times, haven't we? How COVID has kind of, maybe forced fights to happen, or pushed people into positions where they're taking fights where, before they would sit that long a little bit, sit on their ranking a bit longer, see what comes up, or over negotiate, where it's really kind of thrown the market open to the extent, well, do you want to fight or not? Because there's people out there that want to fight. If you don't want to fight, we'll move on to the next one. And it's kind of, it's give people that nudge to sign the paper, get the contracts done, get the fights announced. Like, we get Canelo, Billy Joe. That's a fight that's been talked about for so long. Thank God it's happening now. Also, Fury, Joshua, it looked like it's going to get announced soon. This fight doesn't have the same maybe marquee value in terms of the profile of those other ones, but it's right up there. I mean, this is undisputed super lightweight champion of the world, whoever wins this fight. And I think if Josh Taylor wins it, he'll be the first Scot outside of Ken Buchanan. But I think that was before, we had the 4 belts. So, it's an historic fight in that sense.
Well, Buchanan's, a big admirer of Taylor's. They know each other, and he's got the same nickname, hasn't he? The Tartan Tornado. And Buchanan was this unbelievable road warrior who picked up all his best wins in the United States. Puerto Rico, it was against Ismael Laguna. That's the sort of stuff that Taylor will be looking at, because that's the kind of task that he's he's got on his hands. So things are looking good. And we've got some shows coming up with Lawrence Okolie. He's got a world title fight too. So yeah, it's rosy. There's interesting news coming out every week. So we'll wrap it up for this one there. And thanks for getting in support of the YouTube channel. The subscribers are climbing up, and we'll just keep bringing you more of the same. So take it easy, everybody. We'll see you again soon.